Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Pineapples and Peppers, where we have a very special guest that's going to talk about a very specific subject that he is an expertise in. What do you think, Anita? I think he's an expert.
I think he's beyond expert.
Thank
I think
you.
the term expert is an understatement because
it's
because it's something I feel as though that is a gift.
Ooh,
That you have really identified it at a very young age, and that you've really just honed in on. And that is the gift of food and beverage service.
Management.
That's right.
Just management, service, all of that world. You know what I mean? It's a world that I feel like you might be the king of. Kind of.
Oh, thank you.
So what is your name and kind of, what's your position title and, what do you do?
Sure. My name is Chris. I'm a food and beverage general manager at a luxury resort in Newport Beach.
Oh, hey, Callie.
I've been in the industry for about 15 years.
Okay.
I've been at this property for over 8 years.
Okay.
I've had the opportunity to work in multiple different departments and experience different levels of service in different areas.
Okay.
And every space asks for a different type of service. And every group of guests requires a different level of attention and a different style, a different style of service as well.
Okay.
Excellent.
So what does the word service mean to you?
Service means to me is creating an experience for your guests, whether a small group of guests or a large group of guests, is creating an experience that surpasses their expectations. So it's not just serving an appetizer and an entree and then dessert, but everything that is in and around that as well.
Okay.
So everything from the placement of the silverware on the table and the glassware, the polish of the silver as well, the thickness of the linen, the ambiance in the room, candles, the lighting, any aromas, and then that leads into actual service from
A food perspective.
exactly.
Right.
And I can give a testimonial. I have been a recipient of such service before with this fine eatery establishment, and it definitely surpassed any expectations that I had. The food was outstanding. The service was amazing. Very attentive. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely tell everyone, Mom, run and tell that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, just to take it a step deeper, like, it makes you feel yourself. You know what I mean? Like, feel yourself a little bit, you know what I mean? And I think that's something that our society has kind of come away from. The idea of you feeling important when it comes
Treat
to
yourself.
dining,
Right.
when it comes to mealtime, and the importance of that whole experience outside of the food itself.
Right.
One of the research studies that I actually did for my master's was the food place dynamics. So it's
Okay.
food place dynamics when it comes to childhood obesity, right?
Okay.
What is the vibe essentially around mealtime? And I think that's something that you've perfected, right? And you've really gifted people and allowing them to really experience that again, or continuously for those who continue to come to you.
Over and over again,
Right.
yeah. It's more than just, they're not coming to just eat or to just drink, but to have that overall experience,
Right.
which includes all of those things that we talked about. But the difference between service and food are graded by the guests and the patrons on two separate levels. We get many, many reviews where the service was average, but the food was great, or vice versa, where the food was outstanding, but they felt like they didn't achieve the service that they had hoped for or that they had expected when they came to a 5-star hotel. So balancing those both makes for a great experience overall.
Right. It's an art.
It's an art.
Right.
Right. So from a food perspective, right, kind of bringing that food lens in, what are some goals? Like, how do you all reach consistency? How do you increase that food? If we want to talk about sustainability, do you purchase local foods? What makes your food different? Do you try to provide food that's nutritionally balanced, as far as menu writing? And, is there someone specifically who does it? Or does it come from a larger corporation or larger person who determines how the food is going to go?
So all of our menus are drafted and created by our executive chefs.
Okay.
And there's a team of executive chefs, and they try to coordinate and create the menus based on locally sourced items, prime ingredients, and also, like we talked about earlier, the space that we're in, which is Southern California, so using food and ingredients that our guests in that area or region are accustomed to or what they want.
Right.
And so they base their menu decisions off of that.
Okay.
But also creativity takes a role as well. taking just mac and cheese to another level
Right.
by
Because who
adding
doesn't love mac and cheese?
right
Right.
adding truffle oil in it and maybe crumbles on top, or just taking it to the next level.
Okay.
Where if a guest is coming to expect something else, we deliver something even better.
Right.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about your journey with food service and just kind of how you got into it. How what
drives you?
Yeah, what drives you? And
Of course, well, there definitely has to be a driver or a passion behind it,
Sure.
or else there's too many obstacles and stresses in the industry that would prevent you from moving forward. So you really have to have a true passion for it. I started at a young age at a local restaurant, bussing tables, and I moved my way up to hosting at the front and working in the kitchen a little bit, serving tables, supervising a small staff. And I knew that it was something I was passionate about and that I wanted to have a career in. So I found a hospitality management program at a university, and I pursued that. It was a 4-year program, which gave immense knowledge base for me and kind of propelled me into my career. And from there, I got recruited to where I am now, and have spent the past 8 years there. And I got recruited into this luxury hotel. And I knew that out of the many different segments of the industry, entertainment, quick service, luxury, that this was the avenue that I wanted to take. And I was passionate about delivering service at a higher level. And that's where it has led me.
Yeah. So just one kind of quick questions around it ended up is that, some people feel that, okay, well, I started bussing tables. I don't really need to go to school. I can become a manager or a GM just by, I don't have to go to school. Like, do you think that's something that was important in your role? I mean, because, I hope you don't mind, you're 31 years old and you're a GM of a luxury hotel in a very popular city in the United States. So that's a pretty good, humongous accomplishment in my mind, to be so young and be so well accomplished. So do you think that you would be where you are without your education, or do you have any special words for those out there pursuing food service? Or
I would tell anybody that's watching that my education had 100% effect and influence on where I am today. It provided a very strong knowledge base, and the amount of knowledge that you can gain from that 4-year experience at a university is priceless. As much as experience you have in the industry, if you work at 20 different restaurants, it's not the same as having that kind of classroom experience from people who have been there before you.
Right.
And all of our professors were in the industry for many, many years before, and they teach you not only based on standards, but based on their experience,
Right.
what has worked and what hasn't, and what you may encounter and how to deal with it.
Right.
And so I think it's a necessity for success in the industry.
wow,
Excellent.
real quick,
Yes.
what has been your worst story, if you can share, and what has been your best story? Maybe
Okay.
even the last year. I know it's a lot of experience, but
So the best part about being in the industry is you have the power to affect people's experiences.
right.
And most of the time it's for the good, and sometimes, unfortunately, against your experience, it's for the bad. One of my best stories is having the opportunity to change somebody's experience for the good with just a small amount of passion for making sure that they had a good experience and going above and beyond. And that was with a family that I overheard them talking about it being somebody's birthday and their favorite type of tea. So I made sure that at their dinner reservation the next day in a different restaurant, that was recognized, and they were served their tea, and
Oh my god.
yeah, and they just thought that it was the greatest thing. And that's part of the experience, is those little details that make a huge difference for other people. And one of the worst experiences is having somebody in your face shouting at you, screaming at you, because they want to smoke inside the restaurant, and smoking is not permitted. And this happened to me, and they asked for my business card, and they threatened that they were going to tell my superiors. And I was just following the rules, and I was just explaining the rules, but that's definitely one of the experiences that sticks out in my mind, of somebody literally this close to my face, shouting
Physical
at me,
abuse, almost.
upset,
For
verbal
smoking.
abuse, verbal abuse for sure, using profanity, shouting at me for not permitting him to
Well,
smoke.
at least it didn't have to do with the food, right?
Right. So that's a good thing.
That's a positive thing. And then I know
Excellent.
this is just really funny to me. The people expect you to like change the weather sometimes.
Oh. We have outdoor seating, and people just want me to move the sun sometimes.
Please.
Bring umbrellas, move them every 15 minutes with the sun,
Right.
and it's just not possible.
Right.
But their expectations are grand.
Right. Yes. Well, you are a grand individual, Chris.
Thank you
and
very
we definitely appreciate your time
Thank you.
and your service.
Service.
And
Thank
you know,
you.
I feel like above all things, you make people feel extremely important.
It's true.
I hope so.
And thank you so much, and best of luck to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks everyone for watching.